I'm gonna see if I can get you in here with me and show you a little trick for repairing old fuel lines. So I had a leak here between two junctions. So this is a steel line. Steel line goes into the unibody here, and pulled it apart, and you can see this line is corroded all the way through. So it had to be cut loose. Obviously, don't use heat near fuel lines, so just a regular pipe cutoff tool, rolled around there a dozen times or so, and get that nice and clean. And then I'll show you the tool that I'm going to use to make this a better repair. So you could just jam the fuel line on there, which is what most people do. This is not a fuel injected car. This is a fuel pump, mechanical on the motor. So it would hold. It would be good enough, but sometimes rolling down the street, you don't want good enough. You want to know that everything underneath you, especially with fuel, is contained. It's not leaking anywhere. It's not dripping somewhere, because really no one wants to die in a fire. So what we're going to use is a brake line flaring tool. Now we're not going to do double flare, all that fun stuff. This is a metric kit. It doesn't really matter with fuel line because you're not mating couplers on. We're just going to try to reproduce that little barb, that bubble on the end. So what I like to do is take the broken piece of pipe and fit it on there. So fit on the largest die that you can get it on, and it goes in snug, and then we know that's the one we're going to use. So I'll get back under the car with that die, and I'll lock it into the clamps, and I'll show you how all that works. All right, so I've got the line in the flaring bar, and the amount that we got sticking out here, what we're going to do is we're going to take the tool that comes with the flaring bar, and I'm just going to touch it on there. We want to be roughly close. Again, we're not doing brake lines. We're just trying to put a bubble on the end of this line, so we're good to go there. I could pull it out a little bit more, but don't really need to. So we're good to go. I'll throw the die on and come back and start cranking it down. So this is the die, and it's run into the fuel line, the little nipple on the die there, that nut on the end of the threaded rod, that is the die. So that's run down into the fuel line, and when I start to crank it down, it's going to squeeze, and it's going to force that fuel line to expand. So I don't have a way to hold the camera here underneath here for you. You'll have to take my word for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the bar inside the flaring tool there, start cranking it down, and I'll be back when I've got a nice little bubble on there. All right, I've got the die run down about as far as I'm going to go. I don't know if you can see in there. You can definitely see it close the gap, and there's going to be a little bit of a squeeze, and that squeeze is what we want. So I'm going to back the die off, take the clamps off, and show you the bubble. There you go. A couple minutes of work, a little bit of effort, and got a nice bubble there that we can slide the fuel line over, and a clamp. And once you get it clamped down, that clamp will bite there, and that's good enough pressure. I've run this on fuel injected kits, Sniper EFI, things like that, without blowing lines off. So works great. Looks closer to factory, and you don't have to worry about fuel lines slipping off while you're running down the road.